Hello and welcome to Cooking with Krissy. Today, as a part of our Cozy Comfort Foods meal, I'm going to teach you how to make mac and cheese. Now this recipe is a little bit more complicated than some of the other stuff we've been going over, and you're going to have to be a phenomenal multitasker because you are going to do 3 things at once. So let me give you guys a little breakdown before we start cooking so you kind of know what's going to be happening. In pot number 1, which we want to fill with water and have it start boiling, we are going to be making our macaroni. That is 3 cups of macaroni, or whatever noodle you deem worthy of your mac and cheese. You're going to put that in when it's boiling and let it cook for 5 to 8 minutes. We are going to be taking 2.5 tablespoons of butter, some Parmesan cheese, a 1/4 cup of that, and then also some breadcrumbs, and we're going to take 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs. We are going to let that heat over in a saucepan and probably for like 3-4 minutes until everything starts to brown and come together. Then we're going to turn that pan off, put it to the side, and then in our final pan we are going to make a bechamel sauce. Now that starts by making a roux where you combined, in this instance, 3 tablespoons of butter and 1/4 cup with 2 tablespoons of flour. That's right, 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons of flour. That browns together for 5 minutes. Try really hard not to let the flour get actually brown, but you're just going to keep stirring and stirring. And then we're going to add in 3 cups of milk, continue stirring for 5 minutes, and then we're going to add in our cheeses, which in this case we have 2 cups of Gruyere and we've got 1 cup of white cheddar. Once it all melts, we're going to take our noodles, mix that in, mix it together, put it in a Tupperware, and then top it with the breadcrumbs and bake it in a 350-degree oven. That was an epic rundown of what we're about to do. So now, let's actually do it. Part 1. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees, and I also have a pot of water on the stove about to boil. While that is kind of doing its own thing, I am going to take this 2.5 tablespoons of butter and I'm going to melt that down in a pan. So I'm going to add in 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs and 1/4 cup of Parmesan, and I'm going to stir all of this together, making sure everything gets coated with butter. Now that everything is together, I am just going to turn off the heat on this and let it sit nice and stationary because this is going to be the topping of our mac and cheese. Cool, so our breadcrumbs are done, they're to the side, and our pot of water has started boiling. Both of those we are going to deal with later. Right now we are going to start making our roux, which will turn into a bechamel sauce. And what I'm going to do is take these 3 tablespoons of butter and I'm going to melt it in our pan. Butter has mostly melted, and now I'm adding in 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons of flour. This I am going to continually stir, and also take a note at the time. Right now it's 2:37 and we're going to give it 5 minutes together, just so you guys can see it's already starting to brown. So be really careful and continually stir everything. Okay, our roux has been roux-ing for 5 minutes, so I'm going to take the milk and I'm going to slowly add it to our pan, making sure that I stir everything up. We're going to continue stirring and we're going to let this heat for 5 minutes. So while that's happening, let us take our patient pasta and kind of toss it in. Let's see how well I can do this one-handed. Yeah, we're going to toss that into our boiling water. 5 more minutes has passed and I can feel how thick this sauce is getting. So now all I'm going to do is add in our cheese, handful at a time, so that it melts pretty gently because we want everything to be nice and smooth in the sauce. Here we go, all of our cheese has melted in and you can see how nice and thick this is. Our cheese sauce is all ready, so I am just going to drain out our pasta, turn off the heat on both of those things, and we're going to add the pasta into our yummy cheese sauce. Okay, we've got our strained out noodles. Let's mix this in. And we want to work pretty quickly at this point to mix in our noodles before our sauce starts to congeal. Our final step is taking our pasta, pouring it into our baking dish. Oh yeah, that is just filled with creamy goodness. And then we're gonna top everything with the breadcrumb mixture that we had made before. You're gonna be sprinkling our breadcrumb mixture right over the top. Our mac and cheese is fully covered. I'm gonna pop this into the oven for 30 minutes. Keep checking back to make sure it doesn't get too bubbly, but this is going to be so good when it gets out. Okay guys, we took our amazing looking mac and cheese out of the oven, and I am going to attempt to show it to you. Yes, it is so pretty and so cheesy, and I cannot wait to dig in and eat this. So I will see you guys next time on Cooking with Krissy.